Hello everyone, my name is Jack and this is Homebrew Heroes, where I share with you all some homebrew content for the game Dungeons & Dragons. Today I'll be going over the Dark Knight class from the Final Fantasy XIV companion book for 5th edition D&D. Created by Reddit user SilentSoren, this is a massive project that has been worked on by redditors and players for over 3 years, resulting in a guidebook filled with races, classes, and spells based on the popular online fantasy game, and remade to fit into any campaign setting. If you're interested in this class, or in my other videos going over this compendium, the links can be found in the description below. With that said, let's begin. Throughout history, those that strive to fight off the forces of darkness tend to be remembered and honored as valiant heroes. But the ones that fight off those forces with cruel and dark powers tend to be forgotten and scorned. These are the Dark Knights, warriors and vigilantes that ignore the laws of lords, ranks, and institutions and fight off the corrupted and the vile. In their hour of need, they'll use their own life force to tap into these powers of darkness. It's a dangerous power to obtain, but these brooding anti-paladins will use them to battle any foe that stands in their way of peace and justice. For the class features, you'll get a D10 for hit dice, which is the same hit dice as the paladins, fighters, and rangers. You'll get proficiencies in shields, all armor types, simple, and martial weapons. You'll get no tool proficiencies, except for those that come with your race and background. The saving throws you're proficient in is in Constitution and Charisma, and you'll get to obtain 2 skills of your choice from a list of 7 skills. When you choose the path of the Dark Knight, you'll get access to your very own Well of Darkness. These points are similar to the flare points that the Red Mage can use, as you can spend these points to perform special abilities and attacks. You'll get your own spell DC and spell attack modifier calculations to use for certain abilities as well. You'll get 1 point per Dark Knight level, and any points you have used come back to you after performing a short rest. Also at level 1, you'll get DARKSIDE. You can tap into your darkness by spending 1 darkness point and cause your attacks to deal additional damage for the remainder of your turn. It starts as a bonus of 1d4 at level 1, but it can go as high as 1d10 by level 17. At level 2, you'll gain Dark Vision and a fighting style. For Dark Vision, your eyes glow lightly red, giving you superior vision in dark and dim areas for up to 60 feet. Now nothing can hide from your pursuit of justice. For fighting style, you get to choose 1 out of 4 combat styles: defense, dueling, great weapon fighting, and protection. You can only have 1 fighting style, so choose wisely. Next, at level 3, you'll gain your Dark Knight archetype. This is where you choose a subclass and determine how you'll manage your dark powers. Your choices are the Ebony Champion, the Hellbound, and the Abyssal Channeler. You'll get their unique features at levels 3, 6, 11, and 17. The ability score improvement levels for the Dark Knight is 4, 8, 12, 16, and 19, which can be used to increase your ability scores. At level 5, you'll get the classic extra attack feature. This lets you attack twice whenever you take the attack action. At level 7, you'll learn Blood Price. If you're hit with a weapon that does 1d12 slashing, piercing, or bludgeoning damage, and the roll is a 10, 11, or 12, you'll recover 1 darkness point. This will make the DM think twice before attacking you. And at level 9, you'll gain Soul Judge, which lets you cast the spell Detect Good and Evil at any time. The next feature is Soul Survivor. This lets you mark a creature as a bonus action, and if that creature dies between now and the beginning of your next turn, you'll recover 2 valuable darkness points. This is a great way of regaining your valuable darkness points, but you'll only be able to activate this once before taking a long rest. At level 13, you'll gain the feature Mired Empathy. With this, you can cast the spell Detect Thoughts by spending 2 darkness points. However, this feature also lets you cast it as a touch spell against willing creatures at the low cost of 0 darkness points. Since the spell lets you read the thoughts of creatures you can't see, this could be a handy tool in looking out for any evildoers and villains. Next is the Dirty Fighter feature. You now ignore the rules of honorable combat, just like you ignore the rules of society and the law. When you make an opportunity attack, you can spend 1 hit point to target a sensitive part of the creature, stunning it until their next turn. It won't work against the big bosses, but it can prevent anything else from leaving your sight. The level 15 feature is the Grasp of Darkness. Your dark points harden your mind, giving you proficiency on wisdom saving throws. Then, at level 18, you'll gain Consumed by Darkness. This allows you to spend 1 darkness point to cast the spell Circle of Death, giving you a powerful AoE ability to unleash against your foes. The capstone feature is Living Dead. This lets you continue fighting once you are past 0 hit points. Once you hit 0 hit points, you can make a DC 10 Constitution saving throw, and if you succeed, you stay at 1 hit point for a number of rounds equal to your Charisma modifier. So if your Charisma modifier is 5, you'll be at 1 hit point for 5 rounds. However, once those rounds have passed, you go right back down to 0 hit points. You can escape this fate if you receive any healing during those rounds. Not even death can prevent you from your fight against the forces of evil. The first subclass is the Ebony Champion. These great warriors use the powers of darkness to cure their injuries and to deliver powerful blows against their enemies. The Ebony Champion's first feature is Plunge. As an action, you can leap towards a creature by using the momentum of your weapon and make a special attack against that creature. This attack does bonus damage equal to 1d6, but the bonus will increase to 2d6 at level 11 and 3d6 at level 17. The next feature is Dreadbringer at level 6. By spending 1 darkness point, you can give a creature a sense of dread, giving them disadvantage on charisma ability checks for up to 10 minutes. Different from some spells that affect a creature's psyche, because the affected creature will believe that the concocted dread is purely natural and not from a level 6 ability. The level 11 feature is Blood Weapon. With it, when you hit a creature with your attack and your extra attack while using the DARKSIDE feature, you recover hit points equal to your DARKSIDE damage. If you got a great weapon, or you're just really lucky, then you could be healing yourself every turn with this ability, letting you stay in the fight longer than your DM had hoped for. The final feature is Dark Survivor, another healing feature for the Ebony Champion. At the start of your turn, if your health is under half of your maximum, you regain hit points equal to 5 plus your Constitution modifier. However, this ability won't work if you reach 0 hit points, and it doesn't count as healing if you're using the Living Dead feature. The Ebony Champion is for those that want to fight and to never stop fighting. It'll take you a while before you get the automatic healing features, but once you do, you'll be hanging out in the battlefield much longer than what your enemies have anticipated. With Ebony Champions gaining features to heal themselves during combat, the Hellbound Dark Knights do the opposite. Hellbounds take the pain and suffering they've endured, either through combat or from themselves, and turn them into devastating weapons. The first feature is Dark Nebula. This is a special attack that lets you unleash a 15-foot cone of dark energy towards your foes, for the low cost of 1 darkness point and some of your health. The health cost is a number of d4s equal to your Charisma modifier. For example, if your Charisma modifier is a 2, then you would suffer 2d4 damage. But if it was a 5, then you would suffer 5d4 damage. This goes for the damage roll of the attack as well, except that the damage roll is a d6 instead of a d4. At level 6, you'll gain Adversity. You'll gain the feature Adversity. You won't gain real adversity. This is the adversity that you want. For every 15 hit points you are missing, you'll gain a +1 damage to attack and damage rolls. However, the bonus will cap out when it reaches the same number as your Charisma modifier. So if your Charisma modifier was a 5, and you have just bled out 75 hit points, you'll gain a +5 to attacks and damage. This will pair up nicely with some features like Dark Nebula, Living Dead, and DARKSIDE. You'll gain the feature Hell Link at level 11. The torment you have tolerated has granted you the ability to cast the spells Speak with Dead and Tongues twice per long rest. With these spells, your enemies, whether they are alive or dead, will clearly hear your threats towards them. The final Hellbound feature is Unbridled Rage. When you activate Dark Nebula, you can cast an additional 1 darkness point to cast it again on your turn. If that wasn't good enough for you, you can now expand Dark Nebula's range from 15 feet to 30 feet. You'll be taking a lot of damage casting it twice, but you'll be dealing a lot more damage to everybody else. Hellbound Dark Knights definitely go through hell to deliver that same kind of hell to their enemies. It's easy to see them as glass cannons. It's the best damage dealing subclass, but it'll be hard to survive when everyone, including themselves, are bringing them closer and closer to death. But until then, you'll be packing the most punch out of everyone in the battle. The final subclass of the Dark Knights are the Abyssal Channelers. These are half-casters that use their connections to darkness to perform powerful spells and dark arts. Abyssal Channelers only get one feature, called the Dark Arts, at level 3. Dark Arts are special spells that you can cast by spending specific darkness points. You'll have a limited selection of Dark Arts though, as you'll only gain 2 at level 3, then 1 more at levels 6, 11, and 17. In total, there are 17 Dark Arts to choose from. However, like I mentioned earlier, you only get 5 Dark Arts to choose from, so you gotta choose them carefully. Each of the Dark Arts cast a specific spell and have been renamed to fit the brooding Dark Knight theme. For example, Magic Missile is now called Unmend, Hex is called Scourge, and Contagion is called Abyssal Drain. Some Dark Arts can be picked up at certain levels. Out of your 17 choices, 7 can be picked up at any level, 2 can be picked up once you reach level 6, 4 at level 11, and 4 at level 17. I'm going to give a special shout out to the Dark Passenger, which is a dark art that casts Lightning Bolt that does necrotic damage instead of lightning damage. It's a nice flavor change that fits the Dark Knight nicely. Casting these dark arts follows the general rules of spellcasting. However, there are a few differences. Spells that are cast through dark arts don't need to provide material components. And since there are no spell slots in this class, you could spend additional darkness points to cast these spells at higher levels. It's 1 darkness point for each spell level. For example, if you want to cast Unmend, which is Magic Missile, at 5th level instead of 1st level, you would need to spend the 2 darkness points to cast it, then an additional 4 darkness points to cast it at 5th level, for a grand total of 6 darkness points spent on Magic Missile. This is a very different take of the Dark Knight. It's cool to see the spells that you can cast renamed, and that some of these spells here are very valuable to have, but you'll be stretching yourself thin of darkness points to use them. If you want to be a Dark Knight, or more honestly a Batman that can cast spells, then this is the subclass for you. And with that, that was the Dark Knight class of Final Fantasy XIV. Let me know in the comments of your thoughts on this class. Is it balanced? What changes would you recommend? Anything like that. Also, let me know of other homebrew you would like for me to go over in the comments as well. The link to this compendium can be found in the description below. Thanks for watching everyone. Be sure to like and subscribe for more homebrew content and other things darkness. Till next time, bye.